the Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. First round series. We've waited a long time for this. I'm John here from Untitled Hockey, and I will be live tonight, guys. I'll be live for all the games throughout the playoffs. I'm live every night, not just Leafs, not just Habs, live every night. But for tonight, I hope you join the stream. Leafs, Habs, Game 1. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, drop a like. This is my just straight out quick preview onto what I'm looking for in this series, some X factors, and then we're also going to hear from some Habs fans, Matt from Scotian Canadian and Rick from Talkin' Habs, so they're going to give some Montreal Canadiens perspectives. I'm here to give a little bit of a Leafs perspective, but also just overall perspective. The Toronto Maple Leafs, coming in as the #1 seed in the North Division. They're the clear favorites here, but we know in the Leafs in the past, like, things can go wrong, and I know Leaf fans are excited. I'm excited, but I am nervous as well. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's a lot of nerves with the excitement. And I think this rivalry might take it farther than people are expecting it. Like, I think this series can go all the way, potentially, if the rivalry gets going and if Montreal can get under Toronto's skin. So let's just go over some X factors. For the Montreal Canadiens, we'll start with the Habs. Gallagher. Gallagher's one. He's coming back from injury. He's the heart and soul of this team, I believe. He is a guy that can get under the skin. I've kind of called him like a Walmart Marchand because I don't think he's as good as Marchand, and he's not going to put up crazy numbers in a year, but he gets under the skin the same way. He gets in front of the net the same way. He's got good balance the same way. He has good control of the puck the same way. So I think Gallagher can be a huge aspect. Carey Price, that's no secret. We see what Price can do. And at the end of the day, if you're talking about a guy that can change a series, that would be Carey Price. And then another one. I'm going to go with either Phil Deneau or Jake Evans. And this is the shutdown. Sheldon Keefe kind of talked about it like he's not scared to put Matthews or Tavares or the big guys against the shutdown centerman. But in a bigger perspective, that would be the way to slow them down at the very least. We saw in Game 1, Winnipeg Jets kind of slowing down Connor McDavid. If guys like Deneau, guys like Jake Evans, and then the defense, I think the defense is a huge X factor. If they can try to contain them, then we're talking a different story. I think if you're talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's the big four. And if you're a Leaf fan, you know that at times it's difficult and it's rare to see all four guys rolling. And specifically for a guy like William Nylander, who has great seasons and sometimes cools down in the playoffs, it can't happen. This is a year where you can go all the way. Nylander's got to be awake. The big four have all got to be there. And I would even throw a fifth guy in Zach Hyman returning from injury. So you have Hyman coming in. Onto that big four, the big problem for the Toronto Maple Leafs has been the power play. So you look at the power play, it's got to be a lot better. It can't be the way it's been the last couple months. The power play needs to step up in the playoffs. But the defensive forwards, the depth for the Toronto Maple Leafs, when I'm talking about Riley Nash, Nick Foligno, Ilya Mikheyev, Jason Spezza, even on defensive matchups. So these guys need to step up and play that kind of role, because going past Montreal, if they can get past Montreal, they're going to be huge in a potential playoff run. And then the other one, again, is it's an easy answer, but Jack Campbell or whichever goaltender's in the net. If it's Campbell and you're running with it and Campbell works and Campbell's playing the way he has this year, you run with Campbell and Campbell can go on a run. And that's the biggest three things for me. If the four big guys can be on their game and the power play can start rolling again with the two kind of separated power plays with the 2 and 2, so Tavares and Nylander are 1, Matthews and Marner are 1. If that can get rolling, then I think they're okay and they can score. If the power play is going, the big four are all going, they'll be good. If Jack Campbell can play the way he's been playing, or at least 90% of the way he's been playing when he's playing at the top of his game, the Leafs have a good shot here. It's the big four, it's Jack Campbell, it's the overall team defense. This team can go far. And I just want to mention this because you guys know I'm a big Morgan Riley guy. This guy needs to turn it around in the playoffs. For the sake of being a Toronto Maple Leaf, he wants to be a Leaf for the rest of his career. For the sake of the Leafs going far in the playoffs, for the sake of getting offense from the back end, Morgan Riley needs to step up. Rasmus Sandin is trying to get a big role for himself going forward, and he's gotten time on the #1 power play unit, and he's going to get power play unit in this series and in the playoffs. Morgan Riley needs to turn it around. That's a guy. I'm looking at Riley. I'm looking at Nylander. I'm looking at some of these guys that sometimes when it matters, they don't show. They need to show. Riley needs to turn it around in the playoffs. He's had a really bad season in comparison to his expectations. He needs to turn it around. Offensively, the numbers are there. Defensively, he needs to fix it. And as I said, the big four need to show up. The big four need to show up altogether. So thank you so much. Leafs Habs. Obviously, I need the Leafs to win this one, guys. I'm going to go into hibernation if this shit goes down. But let's hear from the Montreal Canadiens fans on why they could potentially win this series. Because you guys know me in my bracket. I said this could go to 7. I honestly think this could go to 7. So, Montreal fans, we got Matt from Scotia Canadian, Rick from Talking Habs. Go sum them up. And for this channel, subscribe, like, and comment. And we'll see you guys tonight for the live stream on this channel. Hope to see you guys there.
Thanks, John, for including me in your Habs Leafs playoff preview. I am absolutely hyped for this series. I cannot wait for it to start. Hockey has needed it for so long, and I think Canadians need it right now, and I hope both teams deliver, not only with the speed and skill we know both squads can bring, but let's see some true animosity, get this rivalry heated. I want to see some tough old school hockey, the boys sacrificing the body, throwing big hits, and grinding out some tough wins. And regardless of how it plays out, I suspect there are going to be hockey fans, Habs fans and Leafs fans alike, sitting at the edge of their seats, grinding their teeth, stressed out, watching these two teams battle it out in an all-Canadian matchup. I'd also love to see it stretched out to 7 games. I'm not sure Leafs fans would like that, though, because that would mean the Habs are executing their game plan perfectly. We need to rely on the defensive prowess of our two-way forwards in Phil Deneau, Tatar, and Gallagher as a line, as well as Nick Suzuki, Arturi Lehkonen, Jake Evans, Yoel Armia, Josh Anderson, to frustrate and shut down this Leafs top 6, who they play heavily. Those guys get a lot of big minutes, whereas the Habs like to roll 4 lines. So if we can get these guys frustrated and make the minutes that they play really difficult, that's how we'll have success. And another key to doing that is our defensemen playing tough in the defensive corners in front of the net. We need Shea Weber, Joel Edmondson, Ben Sherratt making Austin Matthews and John Tavares' life really difficult in the middle of the ice and when they try to threaten in the offensive zone. We're also going to need our defensemen making quick decisions with the puck, getting it to our forwards so they can move through the neutral zone with speed. It's going to be difficult because the Leafs are going to be forechecking hard and trying to limit that time and space that our defensemen have. But the load is going to be very heavy on Jeff Petrie, and he's going to need a ton of help from Carey Price himself, who is known for those beauty transitional passes. Not only can he guard the mesh at this time of the year, yes, he's had his struggles with inconsistencies this season and last season, but tournament and playoff time, he is ready to go and guard that crease. Now, for the Habs, it is going to be difficult for them to beat Jack Campbell. He has shown this season that he can be a consistent elite level NHL goalie. And despite the Leafs being as strong as they are at forward, he could really be a difference maker for them. You need your goaltender playing at his best. Something that may hold him back, though, is he's never played in the playoffs before. That's a lot of pressure going in there with the Leafs, but no fans in the stadium, so maybe it doesn't make that big of a difference. For Leafs fans, hopefully they don't see these goalies struggle out of the gate and end up with a goalie controversy with Anderson now healthy. Now, the most important thing for the Habs right now is to get healthy. They have been bruised, beaten up, and exhausted for a few weeks now, playing the most games in the NHL out of any team since the beginning of April. So get our guys back, and hopefully Brendan Gallagher can be a key contributor for us and just continue to be the heart and soul of this team. We need Thomas Tatar to pick up his game a little bit, and then hopefully we get that consistent goal scoring out of Tyler Toffoli that we've seen so far this season. Then, of course, Josh Anderson doing what he's done against the Leafs all season, beating up on their defensemen, and especially Jake Muzzin, and then getting those timely goals as well. Another interesting battle is going to be that fourth line for both teams full of vets. We got Joe Thornton and Jason Spezza versus Corey Perry and Eric Stahl, so that should be interesting to see how that works out. And to have any success, the Habs need to keep this a 5-on-5 battle where they are the strongest. Stay disciplined, stay out of the box. You do not need this skilled Leafs team with any surplus of man advantage time. Now, how I think this is going to play out, it is going to be really tough for the Habs. The Leafs coming in as the heavy favorite, and they deserve to. They have absolutely dominated every team in the North Division this year. Even us, even the Habs. Now, I will say that each matchup has stayed relatively close, so the Habs have that going for them. But the Leafs are the heavy favorite, and this is going to be a tall task for the Habs. I don't want to ignore what a feat this would be for the Montreal Canadiens in terms of their team build, especially this forward group, if they can pull off this upset against the Toronto Maple Leafs. But as long as the Leafs ride the wave, don't get in their heads if they get down in the series early, which is what the Leafs or the Habs are going to be looking to do, you know, could ride the wave, play to their strengths. They could have their first playoff series win in a long time. Whoever gets out of the North Division, it's going to be really tough, and especially after getting out of the first. And I think this Habs Leafs series is going to be it's going to be tough, and it's going to wear these guys down. Thanks again, John, for having me on your preview. Cannot wait for the series to start. Go Habs, go, baby.
Hey, Hot Take Hockey viewers. I'm Rick from Talking Habs on YouTube. And I want to thank, first of all, John for inviting me to do this video with him. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens in the playoffs in the first round. And the first question that I'm going to talk about is what do the Habs need to do to beat the Leafs in this first round playoff matchup? So I've come prepared. All right, so first thing is a 60-minute game. Montreal, and I've been saying this all year, and they don't do this very often. Montreal needs to play a 60-minute game against Toronto. If anything that Toronto's proven, to me anyway, is they need only about, 15 minutes a game against Montreal in order to really beat them, right? And Montreal has a letdown, and they jump on it. And, yeah, so Montreal needs to play that 60-minute game. They also need to play with energy and urgency, and the urgency is to win. They have to, they're not going to get a ton of chances. If Montreal's going to win here, it's going to be 7 games. I don't think they can do it earlier. It's going to be a surprise to me if that happens. So they got to play with a sense of urgency every game to try to win, and they got to play with energy. We know Toronto can skate. We know, we know Toronto. They got to play like that. Second thing is physical play, bang bodies. They've got to bang bodies, especially in my opinion, Matthews and Tavares. They got to bang them around, get them off their games. Personally, I don't think either of those two guys likes to get hit. And I think that if they keep doing that, it'll get them off their games, get them either angry, whatever it is, and it'll get them off their games. That's something to me that's very important. But just in a general sense, they're going to have to play a physical game. Toronto's a much more physical team as well, and they can give as good as they get. And, yeah, so it's going to be very important there. Next thing up is veterans. The vets have to show up. They have to show up. They haven't done that lately. The veteran leadership hasn't been there. Now I'm going to put Perry in there, but Perry has been. Maybe not the last 5 games as much, but, I mean, he's probably a little tired. He can use this rest. Perry, Stahl especially, Weber, who's been inconsistent, Petrie, who was great at the beginning, great here at the end, a little bit of inconsistency, Thomas Tatar, who's been almost hardly noticeable these days, Phil Deneau, and Brendan Gallagher, who always shows up. But they need to show up, all of them. We need a sense of veteran leadership in this series. Next up, the D have to be more mobile to help the rush and the transition. So by that I mean, like, Montreal, not the most mobile D. We don't have more than basically Petrie as a puck mover. It's not enough to win the puck in your own zone if you can't. If the play dies on your stick like that, you got to be able to move it up the ice and find help the forwards get that speed up through the neutral zone. Catch them moving, and they can use their speed and their skill that way, have a chance to a little bit better offense, because that hasn't been happening. And yeah, it's not working. They need to be more mobile to also help on the rush. And yeah, I just think the D it's so important when they're mobile, which isn't that often. They have some success offensively, and we need to score more than 2 goals a game. Next, Carey Price. If Habs are going to beat the Leafs, it's going to be on Carey Price's back. Sure, Jake Allen. I love Jake Allen. I think he's been great this year for us, and I want to keep him here. But if Montreal's going to win, especially against the Leafs, it's not going to be with Allen in that. Really, I don't – they have a chance, but if they're going to win and if they're going to go far, it's going to be on Carey Price's back. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is. X Factors. For me, the X Factors here are Jake Evans. Jake Evans, I was talking with my buddy Jeff. You might know who Jeff is. And I think he's right. Jake Evans looks like the guy, that third liner, that underdog guy that's going to have that big season, a la he referred to Claude Lemieux back in '86. And I can see this. Allen's kind of, Evans is kind of stepping it up and playing really well. And yeah, I can see Jake Evans like sort of just having that extra gear going into the playoffs and being a big X factor for Montreal. Nick Suzuki is another one of those players that plays. He has that gear. He steps it up in the playoffs. Go back to the OHL, that last season that he played there. I mean, he put that team on his back and brought them to a championship. He did it last year in the RTP in the last season, and he's looking like he's doing it again this year. He's stepping it up. Great start, kind of a so-so middle, and he's stepping it up again going into playoff mode. And Nick Suzuki is going to be really important. Cole Caufield is looking more comfortable every game he plays. I think he can bring something that we haven't had here really is some offense to counter what Matthews brings, right? That kind of shot, that kind of skill. I'm not saying he's as good as Matthews. Don't beat me up on that. That's not what I'm saying. But I think Caufield can bring a dimension that Montreal's been lacking, and it can help offset some of that skill that that Toronto has that we don't really have. Carey Price, I guess you want me on camera too, right? Carey Price, as I said earlier, Carey Price, they're not going anywhere if Carey Price isn't taking them there, really. Yeah, sure, Allen can win a couple of games. I'm not saying he's going to lose every game or anything like that, but you want success and you want to get to the promised land, you're going to need to do it on Carey Price's back.